Ahead of the deadline for the completion of rehabilitation work, NAFDAC reactions from the use of contaminated infusion produced by 4 Nigerian companies.
And when we talk about this, these are few of many instances of adverse effects of fake and substandard drugs manufactured in the country, Rhoda.
Well, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, drug counterfeiting is the most common in nations without strong regulations governing and manufacturing of pharmaceutical products.
Well, when we talk about a whole lot, the agency estimates that 10 to the outlook for the rest of the day. I am Cliff Ayoze. For now, we'll join Anne Jibono for the day's news. And good morning. What is the latest?
Rhoda and Cliff, good morning and welcome to the news. Ahead of the April 18th deadline to complete the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport runway rehabilitation, aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayimero reports that the runway is ready for aircraft to land and take off.
And we have confirmed that the job has been done quite satisfactorily, in line with the
is that it's very, very difficult for them to trace those trees because the water is used to go off and come down.
Troops of 3 Battalion 22 Brigade of the Nigerian Army on Operation Lafia Dole, assisted by 10 civilian JTF based on information received, embarked on an offensive on suspected location of Boko Haram terrorists at Jarawa General Area, Kala Balge local government area of Borno State. Director Army Public Relations Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman in a statement said while advancing, the troops came under heavy fire at Jarawa village and responded decisively, clearing terrorists from Deima, Artano, Saduguma, Duve, Bardo, Kala, Bok, Meshtede and Ahirde settlement. During the operation, the troops neutralized 21 Boko Haram terrorists, rescued more than 1,600 residents of Jarawa who were held captive by the terrorists. They also recovered 3 AK-47 rifles, 36 hand grenades, 12 cutlasses, and 4 motorcycles. And internally displaced persons from Cameroon. Well, that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Rhoda and Cliff after this break.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be.
There were not much animals in the zoo.
Some of the cages was lapidated.
There are a lot of changes here in the zoo. This place is now filled up with animals like the lion, the ostriches, the hyenas, even the very big python.
All those lapidated cages are now rebuilding.
I feel excited seeing things that I have not seen before. And once you see them, you feel happy. You want to come and see more.
This is a rescue mission project. Tourism in Imo. The Imo Rescue Mission. Imo must be.
NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian Television Authority, specializes in creating comfort in all areas of life, such as real estate investments, that is, land, houses, and office spaces, mass leasing, savings and loan scheme, household items and car loans, and so much more. Other information and entertainment services include Property in Style, a TV program that airs on the network service of the NTA, and also Property Connect, a nationwide magazine. Our priority is to bridge poverty gaps and sustain quality welfare of our clients. Partner with us and watch us help you grow. Pay us a visit today at the NTA headquarters permanent site, Area 11 Garki, Abuja, or our Lagos office at number 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. For more information, visit our website on www.ntaproperties.com.ng, or you can email us on
the foreign exchange. Now the government is even encouraging the SMEs as well, MSMEs with forex, provision of forex. So all facets of the economy being geared up.
Orama, however, called for a speedy passage and efficient implementation of the 2017 budget to enhance the sustenance of positive changes in the economy. The Nigerian Customs Service Federal Operations Unit, Zone A, Ikeja, says it has generated about 1.5 billion naira from goods allegedly being smuggled into the country. It said the money was realized from seized goods in the first quarter of 2017. The service added that the feat was achieved through intensified anti-smuggling operations at the end of December 2016. The figures obtained from the website of the Apex Bank indicate that the sector recorded huge decline during the period. The report, for instance, said that total assets of microfinance banks decreased to 341.68 billion naira at the end of December 2016 from 455.96 billion naira as of the end of June 2016, reflecting a decrease of 25.06%. In the same vein, the report said shareholders' funds for the microfinance banking sector decreased by 42.91% from 135.09 billion naira to 77.12 billion naira as at the end of December 2016. The decrease in shareholders' funds.
They should join us in walking.
Yeah. So, talking about the papers, Rhoda, I think let's take off with the authority today, because on the authority we have, on the front page of the authority, FG set to reopen Abuja Airport tomorrow. Runway ready for use, NCAA and FAN. APs to resume Abuja flights. On the front page of the authority, and on top of the nameplate, we have government plans to set up Science and Technology Bank, data, and with details on page 31 of the authority. And we also have Pencon DG's sack, not in line with Pension Reform Act. Workers, with details on page 37. And also on top of the nameplate, we have the authority editor bags PhD at 40. Well, that's good news for them. But coming down at the bottom of the authority this morning, we have Obiano to present Anambra icons listing over 1,500 billionaires. Well, that's something very encouraging. Rhoda.
All right, so let's quickly move over now to the New Telegraph. On the New Telegraph, just above the nameplates, cashless, Nigerians transfer 10 trillion naira. Now, below the picture story, Malibu probe reps backpedals on Jonathan's invitation. And that's an interesting one here. Water bottles increase risk of germs. That's a story that's on page 10 of the New Telegraph. All right, Bayo, let's get your views on this
yes,
stories.
Officially, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport is scheduled to open on Wednesday. Already, some papers are reporting that Ethiopia Airlines, the international airline that first landed at Kaduna, has confidence in Nigerian airports and is likely to land in Abuja today. The airport is officially opening on 19th. Already, the Federal Airports Authority and the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority have all certified what is called the fiber agency, are all answerable to the president directly, and therefore there is nothing like inquiry about it. However, there has been support about the war against corruption from a least expected source. A former governor of Kano State, Malam Ibrahim Shekarau, who was Minister of Education in the last administration, says Nigerians should support the fight against corruption. Malam Shekarau, who was speaking in Sokoto, lamented that EFCC lost most of its cases because it was hasty in prosecuting. He says, if you rush a thing, it will ultimately crash. EFCC was in a hurry to prosecute cases without conducting proper investigation. He says that Nigerians should support the fight against corruption. However, he cautioned that they should, such investigation should be fair and just.
Well, Bayo, in a lot of stories trending there, and we're talking about the airport reopening, government giving a deadline and meeting that deadline. That's very good news, you know.
Well, it's a challenge for those who constructed it. The Minister of Aviation, who is also an aviation expert, had put his reputation online, and he said if it failed by 19th of April.
course, we have the last one we have is the Daily Trust. And on the Daily Trust this morning, just below the nameplate, you see there, AGF, I am not investigating 15 billion naira recovered fund. Well, it's good to know that he's come out to clarify that because that was a story that was trending, that the president has asked him to go ahead and investigate. All right, and flights resume today as NCAA certifies Abuja Airport. That's on page 13. And the lead story on Daily Trust, states fail to access 46 billion naira UBEC funds. States fail to access 46 billion naira UBEC fund. And below the picture story, that's at the foot of the paper.
That citizens in a community, Isheri and Idumu community, woke up to find a notice posted on their streets. And the notice was saying that, take notice, the big brothers are coming. It's not the gentleman who won the Big Brother in South Africa, who is being expected excitedly in Warri and Jos. No, these are robbers who are giving notice to people in that area that they are coming. The police are on the alert in Lagos, and they are up and doing to forestall that. Also in Aba, where police vigilance killed 2 robbers. Yesterday in the evening, robbers, daredevil, in broad daylight, 5:30 in the evening, also captured an individual and kidnapped him and took him away, shooting sporadically into the air. So these are the challenges of the time.
On the rise again in the east.
Audacity of criminality.
Well, when you talk about this, you know, but the Inspector General of Police has just issued a directive that they should remove all the roadblocks, you know, illegal roadblocks, so to say.
All the roadblocks, legal or illegal, all the roadblocks.
Even those mounted by the police?
All the roadblocks, he said.
So what do you have to say there?
Well, there's a danger here. The concern is that some of the roadblocks have become an obstacle and extorting money, and that is the concern of the police. However, roadblocks normally do serve a purpose because the presence of security agents on
change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. So let the change begin from within. Look at you.
Manufactured drugs in Nigeria. While reports say that Nigeria has about 120 local drug manufacturers, about 60% of the pharmaceutical production in ECOWAS country is also located in Nigeria. But over the years, the quality of drugs being produced is a source of concern to the public.
Have gone back to business. Experts have been advocating proper regulations and submit that ban of importation of drugs into the country could have colossal effect on public health, as the state of events show the preponderance of fake and adulterated drugs in circulation. If the baseline study as carried out by NAFDAC in 2002 revealed that 67.95% of drugs in circulation were fake and without NAFDAC approval, and significant improvement noticed within 2 years, indicating 67 to 80% progress against fake drugs, what could be responsible for the relapse the country is currently experiencing? Can it be curtailed? What are the contributors?
And we also have joining us from Lagos, Ima Agba. He is the MD, CEO, Divine Essential Formulation. Good morning, and it's a pleasure to have you join us, and good morning.
Couldn't reverse so I practically decided that I'm not going to use locally made drug again. I mean, on my own part. And I've not had any problems since I've started using that drug.
And what you're saying now is within the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes.
And since then you've been using
on these issues, and it's still as if nothing is happening. It is unfortunate that regulatory agencies, boards are still not constituted.
If you had to put a percentage to the performance of local drug manufacturers in terms of is standard and non-standard, or poor standard as the case may be, how would you classify that? 30, 70? Or because he said outrightly that, well, he has no confidence in local drug manufacturers.
Honestly speaking, some of the drugs that he mentioned, most of them are not manufactured in this country. Injectables, we do not have that capacity. So some of them, most of the drugs used in the theater are imported for almost 2 years. Now, we do not have any company that produces ceftriaxone in this country. So most of the problems are most of the problems we have are from imported products. Now, if you're going to compare two drugs, you should compare two molecules that are equivalent, you know. So if you pick an imported product and then you blame it on a local manufacturer, I don't think it's right.
All right, Dr. Alkali, let's bring in a local manufacturer, and that's Ima Agba, the MD CEO of Divine Essentials Formulation, who's in Lagos. All right, Dr. Ima Agba, you've been listening to Dr. Kawu and Dr. Alkali. They seem to differ. You are a manufacturer. Let's get your take on this first of all.
Yes, when you talk about, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about locally manufactured product, I've listened to Dr. Kawu, who has said something about suzametonium. It is not a product that is manufactured in Nigeria. When you talk about products that are manufactured locally, I think I will give Nigerian pharmaceutical manufacturer 80%, not even 70%. We have a regulatory framework that is very stiff. NAFDAC regulates the manufacturing. Dr. Kawu should please check where the product is manufactured from, and then you can know that, yes, you are dealing with a country where you have both competency, professionalism at stake. We produce for our people. We don't produce for any other persons. And we are sure, because of what we are doing, there's a competency. If there's any problem, it gets to either one of us in this country. So we are very, very confident in the product that we produce. There's no double stick. We don't play politics with drugs. Gentlemen, we don't play.
That's to say thank you there. I think you'll come in. Let's get the view of the NAFDAC official here, who is a director and has been with that system for quite some time. We know the experience of 2008, which claimed the lives of
and manufacturers supposed to have a system, and this system works perfectly well. However, there are certain manufacturers that doesn't have a perfect system to detect this thing. For instance, like the one that happened with my teething mixture, it's because of the way the active ingredients or the solvent you use to dissolve the paracetamol was purchased, and it happened, but it was reported and it was handled, and necessary sanctions were taken to serve as deterrent. Right from that time, you know, we've taken a regulatory system that ingredient that caused that has been put under strict control in such a way that it will not occur again.
What's the general picture of the standard of drugs?
The general picture of standard of drug manufacturing in Nigeria, to the best of our knowledge and the study we've conducted so far, is that genuine Nigerian manufacturers manufacture quality medicines. And I can say this one confidently from the surveys we've done so far. In 2014, 2013, when the issue of UN Commission on Medicine for Saving the Life of Women and Children came on board, for GMP, which makes them to compete internationally with any medicine manufacturer all over the world. And today,
will you give us a number of local manufacturers we have in Nigeria? You just mentioned 4 out of the whole. Would you give us an idea? Is it 50, 100, 200 or something?
As we are talking, we have over 120 genuine manufacturers.
And 4 are standing out, is it?
4 in terms of WHO standard GMP status. And that status is of the manufacturing facilities because of our own nature of proper storage here. So that is why NAFDAC and all manufacturers and all relevant stakeholders were advocating a quality assurance system in such a way that the quality of medicines is maintained as come out of the manufacturer. And the Federal Minister of Health has launched the National Medicine Quality Assurance Policy, which NAFDAC has come up with the guidelines, and we have come up that we are going to implement this to make sure that the quality of medicines is as maintained as is come out from the manufacturer. So there are relevant stakeholders that are important, and this is what
of these pharmaceutical out of 120, would like to know how many are meeting the requirements, the standard for the production of these drugs. But then that's after I get the views of Dr. Kawu. Dr. Kawu, I'd like you to react to what the pharmacovigilance director is saying here.
You know, one of the beauty of statistic is it makes you feel good about yourself. 7 were presented, 3 were dropped, 4 were taken. So in statistics, that's close to 50%. Now, let's turn the statistics around. If you give drug to about 10 people and 9 people feel well after that, 1 person, so you keep saying 90%. But for that 1 person, for him it's 100%. Okay. So in clinical practice, it's a different ballgame entirely. In governance, clinical governance, it's a different ballgame. I deal directly with the patients. I understand what the patients will go through. The regulator is not looking at patients. He's looking at the total package. I'm looking at emotion, and I'm looking at the person. If we look at what has happened in the last few years in Nigeria, especially if you are a person on social media, there are drugs that will come out. You will see that you are in 2011, and
global system. So the issue, the complex situation we should look at and should address in our system is that we have a system that is possible for poor quality medicine to infiltrate. And we should look at our procurement practices, we should look at our prescribing habit, we should look at our dispensing habit, and we should work together as a team. If you have this system, there's no way poor quality medicine can enter a system. We've seen situations where drugs that are procured properly were improperly stored, and this affects the failure. So we should be able to have a system, and this is why we're converting quality system. The quality assurance system is what guarantees the quality of medicines. And every health practitioner, where you are, is accepted that you are an extension of a regulatory authority. So there should be a need to work together as a team. And as we are talking, NAFDAC has set up pharmacovigilance committees in almost all the tertiary health institutions. In Abuja, we have them. We work with them as a team, and they give us reports of what is happening. So reporting is a system of detecting what is going wrong, and we'll be able to identify which area we need to strengthen, because you cannot get a perfect system. But you really need to review what you have.
Nothing is done about that.
Yes,
let me give you a personal experience, sir. There's a new drug in the market, a Nigerian market. There's a plant.
And close all those open drug markets in the country. All these problems would have been reduced to the barest minimum. The task forces are not working. As for the associations, the Pharmaceutical Society, the Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, we have been advocating for effective drug regulation. We have been advocating that government should put the necessary people. We have no business having an acting DG for up to close to 2 years. We should have a substantive DG by now. We have no business not having a functional, knowing the scale of.
Does that affect, the job the person is supposed to do? Because you are in charge.
There are certain decisions that will be taken by a substantive DG. And we also said that over the years, since Akunyili left, we've not have really a push that will meet up our standard.
All right, Dr. Akali, let's get the view of a man who is deeply involved. Because when we talk about local manufacturers, we've had the director of pharmacovigilance, giving pass mark to a certain percentage of that. What do you think is the problem in terms of local drug manufacturing? Looking at what is on ground, preponderance of substandard drugs in the market, even in pharmacies.
Thank you very much, sir. When you talk about substandard drugs in the market and local manufacturing, the issue has to be juxtaposed with the importation of drugs, just like it's been proposed by the federal government. It's taken to this level. I think we have a good percentage of genuine products in the market, and you have a reduction in those substandard products. Pricing is also an issue. We are looking at pricing. After going through the different stages and the infrastructural challenges and all the challenges that the local manufacturer has to go through before you get your product into the market or into circulation, you know that they go through a lot of difficulties. Assessing forests, the level of different things they go through. Definitely the pricing of these products will not be as what will I call it, affordable as what you have.
Do we have that?
Yes, in terms of research, if you talk about competency, yes, we have competency, we have the professionalism. But in terms of support, grant, to support research. When have we gotten grants last? When have the pharmaceutical industry, the pharmaceutical research council, gotten grants last? We can't say about that, because if you don't give grants for researches won't take place. Do we have the capacity? Yes, we have the capacity. We have a lot of technical, well-trained, cutting-edge results from our researches, and we need to put that into place. I think it is in the policy pipeline for now, but we are waiting. We are hoping that these things will come to pass.
Thank you very much, Emma in Lagos. Talking about raising a lot of issues, lack of support, finance support for research, the abundance of substandard drugs in the market. Who is responsible for that? Who brings it in? And who should be able to check them? The regulatory agencies and those empowered to do that. We'll discuss all of that, and also the input of Nigerians via our Twitter handle will come in a moment. We'll take a break now. Okay. Eluyuju Ige says it's rather unfortunate that in a country like Nigeria, human lives are not valued, else strong laws and institutions will be put in place. And Festus Akimboyewa tweets, substandard drug markets flourish in Nigeria because of ineffective regulations and lack of commitment by government of all levels to tackle the problem. Also, we have another tweet from Ronke here saying, place to check and balance drugs produced locally. We need another Dora Kunyili in NAFDAC. Culprits caught should be dealt with seriously. Festus Akin Twitter said Nigeria needs a collective efforts of government, regulatory agencies, pharmaceutical industries and the public to tackle the problem of counterfeit drugs. And Enor Ayuk says Nigeria drug regulators should focus on efficacy and potency of drugs made in the country, because most of our drugs are disastrous. Well, we have the director of pharmacovigilance of NAFDAC. You had the comments of Nigerians. What is your comment?
Thank you.
Which are the standing comments that you can pick up from all the observations?
Thank you very much. I've had the comments. But before I respond to the comment, let me put certain things straight. The current acting director general have really tried. Why do I say that? Under her, we have sustained the accreditation of our laboratory in Yaba. We've got new certification for our laboratory in Kaduna. We've got new certification for our laboratory in Agulu. In fighting drug counterfeiting, these are the instruments you use to detect counterfeit medicines. And using this, you know that you'll be able to perfect your system and work well. And you've seen, well, we've tested some medicines in our laboratory and take it to international laboratory, the answer is the same. So the lady has really tried as an acting director general. But going forward, the major area we need to strengthen in fighting drug counterfeiters is that all over the world, like in China, if you are involved in drug counterfeiting, it's death by hanging. In India, it's life jail. We've tried to amend the laws in this country severally, but this law has not been passed. And the penalty doesn't serve as deterrent. So you see people willing to go into drug counterfeiting, and when they are taken to court, they pay maybe 50,000 and they are left off the hook. So we really need to strengthen the law to make the punishment more of a deterrent. Talking about fighting counterfeiting, the task force is very essential. And the federal task force, which is spearheaded by Director of Enforcement and Investigation, is working very well. But the state task forces need to be reactivated and motivated to make sure that we work collectively, because you know Nigeria is a very large country. And if you're able to do this effectively, we'll be able to contain the excesses. But another thing that is a major issue in Nigeria, manufacturers in Nigeria, when you look at counterfeiting, they don't do counterfeit products. They manufacture products in line with international standard. Okay. But some of the influx of counterfeit medicine
we'll go to that area.
Unmanned borders.
We'll go to that area because it's an area that a lot of questions are being raised. Yeah. How come we have influx of these drugs and there are no checks, even when they come through our borders? Well, this is Good Morning Nigeria. If you just joined us, our focus is on quality of locally manufactured drugs in Nigeria. And I will be back in a moment after this break.
Kidney and liver issues are on the rise. Why?
This is monstrous. It's even more monstrous.
Charlatans peddle drugs on the streets as if it is pure water. Why?
I was not new.
Enterprise is for money, not assured and quality service. Why?
My dear sweet professor, am I trying to you so?
Oh, yes.
Episode 10, Season 3 of your rib-cracking comedy. Professor John Bull takes a swipe at the scourge of substandard goods in our society.
Fake suppliers of products must be brought to justice before they create a calamitous atrocity in our community.
Keep a date with us and laugh like never before.
Electric bomb!
Showing at 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on NTA Network International and Star Times.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
Welcome to the new speed of life.
So what's up, sweetheart? You really look like you're up to something.
I have a secret.
Okay.
I'll be going to Europe next week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like you have your visa, your passport, your plane ticket?
No, not that way. Some men are helping us. We pay them, they take us through the desert, and then we cross the sea into Europe.
The desert, the sea. Isn't that the route where many have died?
Yes, it is indeed a very dangerous journey. In 2016 alone, 4,900 people died while crossing the Mediterranean Sea to enter Europe. Many were Nigerians. For the very few who survived the journey, they are forced into prostitution or other crimes just to survive. Eventually, they will be arrested and deported to Nigeria. Don't be a victim. Don't go this way.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
NTA Television College Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, has maintained her reputation of putting together courses that are highly relevant to manpower needs of the broadcast industry. The college has put together 3 core courses for 4 weeks on computer networking for television for the engineers in the broadcast industry. Date 17th April to 12th May 2017. Registration fee 80,000 Naira with accommodation. Also, a 4 weeks course on English grammar and pronunciation for broadcasters, presenters, scriptwriters, news editors, journalists, and master compares. Date 22nd May to 16th June 2017. Registration fee 80,000 Naira with accommodation. TV College also has a 4 weeks course on specialized reporting to cater for those that want to learn the skills of reporting from judiciary, crime, conflict zones, environment, business, natural disasters, politics, and health. The course will teach you the ways to write and handle stories with peculiar situations. Registration fee 80,000 Naira with accommodation. Date 19th June to 14th July 2017. Venue of all courses will take place at NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, contact us on 0806 980 9807 0703 660 7155 or email us at ntacollege@gmail.com. NTA Television College, Jos, training you to be the best you can be.
Hello there, you're welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Nigeria on the NTA, and of course our guests, they're still here in the studio. And this morning we're looking at the quality of locally manufactured drugs. I'd like to get back to Dr. Akali. The Director of Pharmacovigilance here is Ibrahim Ali, is also saying that the regulatory framework is there. But earlier you said that that's an area that if checked properly, of course, we wouldn't see what we're seeing right now. But I'd like you to take this along with it. The country has said that it wants to meet a certain level of percentage, 70%, production of drugs between, a certain time. Isn't this also accounting, for the fact that we have local, that is substandard drugs? And also, if you look at it, Dr. Kawu said something here. Even if we're not having fake drugs, these are drugs manufactured, they are genuine. But then the quality, just as he said, the quality is quite low. You get a product that is from another country. It's not substandard. It's not fake. The drug now is not fake. Take painkillers, for example. You take a paracetamol produced here. You take a paracetamol produced, outside. When I say outside the country, I'm talking of Pakistan or India, or I'm talking of UK or Germany. The quality, the way they work, seem to differ. Well, what is responsible for this?
Well, Thank you very much for a very good question. Now, if we talk of regulatory framework, the various regulatory institutions must be strengthened. They must be given targets and they must attain these targets. We're talking about local production. Now, most of our local manufacturers are not even being patronized by government.
Okay.
Even when they are patronized, they are not being paid. They've been owed for so long. And apart from that, if you look at the power situations we have in the country, the local manufacturers are really struggling to meet up with production because they spend a lot on diesel and what have you. Now, there are no grants, like Iman has said, for researches. We have a research institution that is not being supported. We have a National Institute of Pharmaceutical Research and Production here in Idu, in Abuja, which is underfunded. It's just not doing anything. So government must take drug quite seriously. I think our forefathers were very wise in putting drugs on the exclusive list to be handled only by the federal government. And because of that importance, the necessary agencies that are responsible for the checking of all these drugs, from importation to the final consumer, that is the retail outlet, because in the pharmaceutical value chain, we have manufacturing, for the manufacturing of active ingredients or manufacturing of the drug itself, to distribution that deals with wholesaling, and then to the retailing that deals directly with the patient, interface with the patient, we dispense the drugs. Various
of monitoring local manufacturing, essentially at the state level. You also pointed out earlier that even at the federal level, there appears to be a lot of lull in trying to checkmate the activities of these manufacturers and those who import drugs.
It is breached by private hospitals. And then the private hospitals are shrouded in mystery. You don't even know what they do there. There's nobody regulating them. Everybody is down their own. Nurses own a hospital, lab tech, they own a hospital. Everybody owns a hospital. But then who is regulating who? So in
medical personnel, and you go and replenish, and your telephone number, everything is there. So you can say, this is the genuine prescription. But in Nigeria today, we don't have what is regarded as anybody can prescribe. Then when it comes to dispensing, anybody can dispense. So any person, you have the relevant paper, you come in through the designated post. But the unscrupulous people that feed fat on this because the penalty is low, don't care about how the product is stored. Those of you that go to places like Niger, you see how they will try to have a collaboration under WHO platform, local manufacture, because issue of medicine is a national security issue. And if you cannot produce the medicine you are using in your country, you don't have any security. So the issue about quality assured medicine is that those facilities that are producing in Nigeria, we can go there and monitor them today without them knowing. We don't need visa. So we're sure and we'll control some of these things. Then the only thing is that also, if those of you that are very alive, recently in Delta State, we're able to get somebody, he doesn't have manufacturing facility, he was faking an anti-malaria, we're able to pick him up, and he was prosecuted 5 years without option of a fine. So these are some of the things that we really have to.
There's nothing wrong with the locally produced drugs. The problem is we have many quacks in the system nowadays. And that's exactly the point being made here.
All right, those are the tweets that we have right now. We still have got some time. You can still join us in the discussion. You can tweet at us at NTA GMN. But then let's get to Lagos, where we have Ima Egba, MD and CEO of Divine Essentials. Of course, you're a local manufacturer. Ima Egba, it seems to me like our local manufacturing industry has not really grown, because as we're talking here, we keep saying that the local ones, that is the ones who are producing, when Dr. Kawu was saying, oh, this drug, we're saying, no, that's not produced in Nigeria. So it seems to me like we've just been producing analgesics, malaria medicine. We still import the high-value drugs. And then we're also getting to discover that even the analgesics, the malaria medicines, the materials, the raw materials for producing them we still import them. Why is this so?
Thank you very much, Ruda. Let me start with the capacity of the local manufacturers. The lack is that patronage, and you need to support the system. You see, when we started about this agro issue of rice made in Nigeria, today we have a lot of changes. When we talked about juice being repackaged in Nigeria, today we have a lot of changes taking place. And so it is with the pharmaceutical industry. If you don't give them the support, you don't patronize them, this kind of dwarf situation will continue. Now let's go back to the active pharmaceutical ingredients, which are the APIs that are used for manufacturing pharmaceutical products. We have the raw materials in Nigeria, that is the hydrocarbons that are supposed to come out as precursors from the petroleum industries, which will have to be re-synthesized to give you these APIs that are used. What do you have? We are not producing refined products here. So how do we get these precursors that we can use to reformulate? And even if you have that, where are the infrastructures? So these are place, they have interplays of issues that have to be put in place for this aspect, which is a very big foreign estate owner for countries like China, countries like India, who have been able to combine the production of API with finished products.
Where patients are being operated daily. So we're talking about 10 years ago, the number of patients we operate daily in Nigeria is not the same volume we operate today. But I think where the disconnect is we have university system that is not contributing to the manufacturing system in this country. Okay. I mean, there's so much papers in the university system, but then it's not reflecting in the capacity of our industries.
Sure.
You have pharmacists who are writing papers on very sophisticated equipment, some drugs, but you are not producing the same drug in your country. Sometimes I get confused when you read a lot of papers from Nigeria, and then you ask yourself, where are the industries to produce these drugs that these people are talking about? Okay. I think the problem is we have not been able to put together programs where what we talk about is what we do.
All right, just a minute, because we have other Nigerians. We don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have much time, so we really need to move forward. We're just talking about having the right program and taking practical steps to realize those programs. That's what is being talked about. We have other Nigerians joining us via the tweet, and we have Daniel Monachimso. Monachimso is saying the drug million people, NAFDAC is needed. And Ndubisi Ubaka tweets, another way is for governments to strictly regulate drug manufacturers. And also continuing, it says, NTA GMN, the bigger problem is that majority of drugs sold here are low quality.
Is it about 68, when Crown agents, then the sole importer of drugs, disengaged, and now we have multiple people coming in and importing drugs. In the 88s, when everybody came in. So we need to make sure we hold our
NAFDAC will be on top of it to ensure that we enhance locally manufactured drugs, and of course ensure that we don't have fake drugs coming in.
And with respect to deploying technology.
No, it's okay now.
All right,
we'll create another forum for you to really talk about that.
All right, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to all of our guests. We'd like to start from our Lagos Network Center, where we have joined, who's been speaking with us, Ima Agba. He's the MD CEO, Divine Essentials Formulation. Thank you very much for coming on Good Morning Nigeria. And also would also love to thank Dr. Albert Alkali, who is a consultant